We are live.
We're live at the conference committee on 9/51, Thursday, May 28th. And we are having a day of more functional conference committee on the FY27 budget. You have things.
We have things. We have lots of things to talk about. And so we'll start with the food package that you proposed that also includes Jenna's promise on it from yesterday. And while we would probably have done some of these things a little bit differently, I think you will accept your package. We're glad to have NOFA up a little higher so they can run all their programs. It's always hard not to have enough for Vermonters feeding Vermonters. I just want to say publicly that the Jenna's promise, which is on here, which we will accept, just state publicly that we hope that this is probably not going to be able to happen next year. So we hope that Jenna's promise will find a way to get into the DOC budget or whatever it is they need to do, because if we thought money was tight this year, next year's going to be a lot worse, but we'll accept that package.
Just as a comment to that, I would hope that because it looks like the formulas aren't as we all might like that.
Right.
I would hope that the policy committees do spend a little time to look at formulas and weigh it.
Right. That would be helpful. And we do have different language. Did we already do that on the food shelves? We have language that was given to us to grant. Okay. Right. So we have some language around how to go along with the food bank local food shelves to make it clear how it's supposed to be done. So the money is fine, and we need to show you the language for that.
I would suspect probably it's close to what we did
last year. Yes, it is. I'm realizing as we're looking at it, we haven't actually handed that over. So thanks you, Jack. Okay, so from the number standpoint, we can close out those rows. James has a lot of the rows. Do you want to mark it to graph sheet, or do we just want to continue and they can mark it out with that?
We also have an update.
I'll do an updated graph sheet.
It'd be good to go through it.
Okay, so we'll do that. Yes, that's true. A lot more gray on this one. That's a good thing. Thank you. So this would be closing out with new numbers. Row 45 on page 2. The network partner food. There we go. 45, line 70. Oh, that's the adult day center. And then line 72 is the new number for NOFA to be 350. Line 73 is the new number for Vermonters feeding Vermonters. Line 74 is the new number for the child and adult care food program. Line 77 looks like we already. I don't think you meant 77. That number's.
700.
No, it's not 77. It's something else. Let's see. Did we do line 70, or is that still out? No, we did 70. Yeah, that was on our list. Yeah. And then
just a second sheet.
let's see.
We did the 2 sheets with the second sheet.
Okay.
Not the sheet.
Okay, yeah. Line 145, Jenna's promise. I think 77, or typo. Never mind. So we closed out a bunch of lines there. And then I think we have language and things for some of those, but I'm looking while I'm on here. Well, no, that'll be, okay, I think Emily, it's your turn for a bunch of language stuff, which will cover a bunch of different sure areas.
I sit down here. Are you ready to sit right there? Here. It's okay.
Yeah, definitely.
If you look good with the sun coming.
Oh, thank you. Sounds like ominous. You have a copy, right?
Yes, I have a copy of this.
One sec. So the language that you have in front of you on page 1, this is the contingency list.
So I haven't actually made this proposal
Oh,
yet.
yeah, sorry.
Which it makes me realize. Let's get going. So our proposal on the contingency list, you had 4 items on the contingency list. One was to restore half of the tech mod fund. The second one was $1 million for S60, the farm and food security. The third was $5 million to the human caseload reserve, human services. I always get that wrong. And the fourth was the 30 million to be set aside for future appropriations for addressing federal fund shortfalls, Medicaid, et cetera, the property tax relief. So kind of the same language that we used last year. And so our proposal is to eliminate the second and third ones, the $1 million for the farm aid, because when you get to that point, the agency of ag has to hire somebody and then to set up a program. And if we aren't like committed to giving them millions every year, it's just doesn't make sense to get it started. So we propose eliminating that. Human Services Caseload Reserve already has over $100 million in it. So that didn't seem like as high a priority or necessary. So we felt that it was important to put the money, sort of fully restore the interest that we took out of the Tech Mod Fund, because we know that the administration has got some IT projects and they would really like to use that money. And then we keep the 30 million as we can. So this is the language to do that.
But not restore just the interest, it restored the whole amount that we took.
It restored it, but that was interest, restoring all the interest that we took. So it's restoring exactly 9,547,596 and 39 cents.
Right. The only other piece I would point out, so this makes it clear that in the event there isn't $39,547,596.39, that the Department of Finance and Management shall complete each transaction to the greatest extent possible. So if they don't have to have a full 9 million or a full 30 million, if there's less than $9 million at year end, whatever is left unallocated at the end of the fiscal year would go to the first thing that would fill up accordingly to the extent. And then this language directs anything that is, in the event that there's anything more than what's listed on this contingent list, it would follow the statutory allocation for any unreserved, unobligated general funds that would go to the pensions and the rainy day reserve. Right.
So it's certainly our feeling that given what we saw for revenues, at least through April, that certainly we should be able to fully fund number 1, and we'll be able to partially fund number 2. We've got a few more months left here, or 3 more months left.
Okay, well, we'll talk about it.
Yep. Okay.
Well, you're lecture to the now.
I just would remind you that when we went to the last recession, between 2007 and 2009, in an 18-month period, we lost 166 million on a budget that was half the size. We have reserves that we can use of only about 200 million. And so we are although we pat ourselves on the back for schools, we really don't have anywhere near what it would take if we had a downturn. And at this point in time, and I'm saying this as much for people around, outside of this table, is, we are, running dangerously close to a recession. And we're running right now on revenues from last year because the income taxes this year. We may make revenue estimates and we may have a little left over, but it's on the income tax from last year.
Right.
And all indications are that stuff is on the downside. And I would say in the piece that you just put on the table, I pushed a lot for the food banks, but with gas prices the way they are, and with I have 3 food shelves in my area, and they're all up about 30%.
Oh, yes.
Of the people that food.
That's big.
I think to not look at places like the Human Services Caseload Reserve is it's dangerous. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
I
And
need
if
to
you,
do it.
if you add that, we have about 312 million in reserve, so
We
it's
have
still low.
312 million, but the 5% reserve can not be touched, or the bond markets will kill us.
Yeah.
And the 5% reserve is if we have an unforeseen at the end of the year, and then is the first thing we have to build in the next budget year. So it really becomes a non-touchable.
I know, we never use it, right?
And
Very hard.
And so we really only have about 200 million. And that's not really, in my mind, a lot of money.
Right.
When the human services, the number of people that ending up getting assistance goes up in recession and our revenues go
Right. Well, and I don't disagree with you all, and I hear from my food shelf too, everybody statewide, nationwide is having the same issue, there's no question about it. We still have 38 million or 50 million or 30 or whatever the number is from last year. About 26.5 million left from the other 30 million. So we also have money that we can access very much more quickly. So that gives me more comfort and doesn't,
I've been
makes me
here,
less concerned.
I've been here when revenues go up like this stuff.
Right.
And we'll come back to the next meeting.
Yeah.
We're gonna go through all these things.
Yeah, let's go, let's go to the next one.
The next one, is the reversions list. Actually, fun. I also brought a spreadsheet. All the numbers up, so you can see the changes from the House to the Senate on reversions. But you had requested to see the language on the reversion of the $150,000 for the language justice project.
And the appropriation is in that bill.
And the appropriations will be in the one time, so effectively it's a increase in $150,000 of available sources.
But there's the reversion too, so if you get the money.
That's where the reversion is. And then this list, the only change to the reversions will be this $150,000. Otherwise, everything, my understanding has been agreed to. The
And
Senate,
it's language about the appropriation. Where's that?
that will be in the one-time section. But I don't, are there, I don't believe there are changes compared to the Senate as passed version. But we'll make sure you see it.
It's just our Senate thing. Okay.
The House language is different from the Senate language.
It's whatever's in your budget.
Right, but the budget is
It's whatever's in your budget.
Okay.
that.
And so now here's the actual reversion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
We can-
So that's where
can agree to
68. That's 68. Okay.
The reversion line.
Which, the reversion line?
that.
No, because we didn't have one in there. But the Senate didn't
Oh, yeah,
have
we
a
closed.
version,
Yeah, and we closed the other version changes.
which one are you talking about?
The House confirming the changes for the, these other changes that are on here,
Yeah,
corrections and,
right. The only things that are open under reversions are the ed fund reserves, ed transformation funding. So we're waiting for other people on those.
Yep.
Okay, so what's next? Oh, yeah,
The next is, changing the effective dates for the Ethics Commission, Investigation and Enforcement, subpoena records authorities. For your request.
so this doesn't have the guide, the handbook thing, but I'm actually gonna confirm with the people that wanted the extension, whether this is, whether we put in more than they need, what's the minimum they need to put in. So this is on hold until I can confirm that's in, but we talked about just extending the date, you know, the
Right.
enforcement date by a year. So that's where you see in number 3, well, number 1 and 3. And 6,
Three total.
yeah, so it's just, that's just all the extensions for here. Okay,
So we're gonna hold on to.
I'll just confirm it and then we'll. Okay.
Okay.
And yeah, okay, so. Okay, what, we have other,
Yeah, so the last piece,
oh, yes.
page 4 and 5, this is language associated with the appropriations. Outlined for S 938,
H.951.
H 938, thank you. So in the first part, the 1100, this is the one-time appropriation. So it's a $21.1 million general fund appropriation, and then this reverts back to the House construct in terms of the structure, where outlining the specific items that the funds, that the one-time funds are appropriated for, rather than a large appropriation.
So it mirrors the language that was passed in 938.
And then the same is true in the next sections, P 316.4, 321.1, 321.5. Just providing a little bit more language around what those funds are supposed to be used for.
And that's the language that's in 938.
It's it mirrors the language.
Mirrors the language, yeah.
So, and then you'll note, I noted on E 3521, double checking it again this morning. I think we left out shelter development.
325.1.
325.1 in the list of items. So we are going to update that and we'll bring you back the language. We'll go triple check back at the office.
Okay,
But we'll bring back the language
okay.
finalized for that. This is the general structure of leadings.
Just looking at line 140. Right, so. So, okay, so Emily, I'm looking at the gray out sheet and line 130, 140 has E 316.3, 938. Big
Yeah.
funding, and then these are not 316.3.
Correct. In the Senate version of the budget, there was general language about these sections just in 316.3.
Okay.
So now that we have the final appropriations, final 938,
Okay,
page 938, and put it in the right buckets.
okay. So we can check that off because it's not gonna be in 316.3, it's gonna be.
Correct. Will be in all the documents.
Okay,
And we'll make sure this is all
right,
what we want.
Yeah.
Yeah. okay.
Well, if you look at the end of your graph sheet, should have pointed this out before. There's a bunch of items grayed out at the bottom, which are sort of other things that you added that are not sort of specific to the Senate section. So we will add those 3 items. That's at the bottom of page 7. These are all of the other items that you added or changed that aren't explicitly reflected in specific lines. So we will add the changes to 325.1 and those 3 sections to this. Just to sort of keep a running tally of all of the other
Right.
sort of new things that are coming in that were not in the Senate version of the budget that may have been in the House version or need to be added because of other changes you all decided.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
So that's that language. And then we wanted to, you were gonna get back to us on the language that we gave. I think it was page 4, number 4.
Yeah,
Yes,
the short stories, we will want to revert to the Senate positions on that language. I don't know if we have our full explanation.
I guess I want to hear more about why.
well, the parent-child centers were not included in the last 1% increase.
Right.
We also know that so we can identify, I think, pretty discreetly what the larger organizations are referenced in statute, like EAs, SSAs, right, PCCs, so on. To go through this full analysis, just for us to understand where the parent-child centers stand really doesn't make sense. This is a lot of work for, I think, less outcome. So,
Well, parent-child centers are included in that,
understood.
and we may be leaving out other organizations.
We may be, but we haven't heard from those other organizations. And we know that in the past, we have provided support for other organizations. In addition to which, we're doing H.951. That's going to be encompassing a good number of nonprofits. So, but I would really urge us to look at the parent-child centers. They are becoming more and more critical as a locus of support within every community in the state, really. I think it's important that we look at them independently.
Go ahead.
Well, I think that the reason for broadening this is that at some point, I think as a body, we're going to have to address the fact that we created these organizations in statute. And we are very inconsistent in raising what we pay these organizations to do, which is the state's work. And we have made changes to the DAs and SSAs, but that has been that took a long time to get those increases. And I guess I saw this as a budgeting tool. Here we know, and maybe we can take out some of what's in there. But it seems to me we need to be aware when we're approaching a budget of what it would look like, what the cost would be to increase rates for these different agencies by 1%.
So as an example of what we're doing, we are looking at the relationship between the DAs and the agency and the contract relationship. And when an organization is paid, how do they use that money? Are they allowed to expand the services, or do they stay within the area of responsibility that we have defined for them? I see that this is an opportunity to do the same thing for the parent-child centers. Understand what is the work that they're doing on behalf of the state, and are we paying them appropriately for that? We haven't done that. When the network was established, Parent-Child Center Network was established, then that was a whole new organizational structure. And so now it's time to look at them with that in mind, and then with are they being paid appropriately?
Yeah.
So, and we've done this for our nursing homes, we've done this for others. So You know, I'm not convinced that we need to do every single community organization and partner.
That's in statute. So how many, do we know how many are in statute? I'm looking back at JFO here.
So why don't we'll come back and see if we can give you some more specific changes to the language to address. the-
Okay.
I would just say that the parent-child centers now have evolved from those. It's not like other organizations where we give
Right.
them mental health or we give
Right.
them home health service.
Primary.
I don't think we're disagreeing at all with anything about the parent-child centers or that we shouldn't forget them. We are saying absolutely. And if we're gonna do that, we ought to look at the others as well at the same time. I don't know how many that is, because every year we do something, we leave people out. And if we say parent-child centers now, then next year we're gonna hear from somebody else.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
I need to go.
So
Yeah,
why don't you
okay.
get that deal?
Oh,
That's really important.
Go for it.
Good luck with that.
So anyway, we need, we're gonna hear from other people. There's no disagreement about the parent-child centers, that, you know, you're preaching to the choir on that. It's really an issue about who else are we leaving out? That's in statute.
Really comes down to dollars in a beef we didn't have the dollars in this budget to do that across the board. I hearkening in my mind is Senator Kitchell would say, unless you have the dollars, don't ask the question. And
Well, we can say that about all the organizations that we fund every year and forget to fund every year.
It's true. The other thing that I think about, obviously, is the work that the agency is doing right now. And the,
Is this gonna be a lot of work for them?
well, this would be a huge amount of work, given everything else. And I'm thinking of healthcare reform. I'm thinking of rural health transformation grant. I'm thinking about H.951.
Yes.
So I'm thinking about all the work that they're doing to keep our nursing homes alive. So for me, if we can narrow this, then, and we get the information that we need for parent-child centers, I think it's a good start. It's a step.
Well, we'll look forward to whatever language you want to propose.
Did you want to do anything else or without your full?
No, she's pretty awesome. We're gonna continue.
Okay.
But we do want to eliminate line 135. Which is that consider $1 million for a program that.
Oh,
You,
We can talk
yes.
about that. Hang on a second. Oh, this is the digital,
Yes.
digital
Right.
behavioral prevention program. Yeah, I think, just to understand what it is, currently, there is a program existing in California as well as New Jersey and a couple other states where, you know, we look at social media and cell phones as the enemy for kids. Reality is that there are programs out there, apps out there that will help with mental health responses.
Yeah.
So this one has demonstrated, I know of at least one that's being used in California and in New Jersey, and we've had them in the committee several times, that have demonstrated beneficial outcomes for mental health concerns and issues with kids. So it is only for the consideration of the use of that platform.
Well, they can consider it without our putting it in the budget. We have not heard anything on the House side, no testimony, not being supported at this point with that by our committees of jurisdiction until they hear any other information themselves from it. So.
Well,
This is
the
one we
name
feel
of the
pretty strongly
program
about.
is to Luna,
Right.
and they probably should invite them in.
Right, so
because
that would be a good thing for them to
it
do.
is outstanding. I was not convinced, like many other people. I felt like if you're putting a cell phone in front of a kid,
Right,
that you're only causing problems. This one has caused solutions. So,
so I think that's great, and our committees would be willing to look at it next year, but we don't want to have it be in the budget.
we could ask them to look at it.
We don't need to put it in the budget and ask them to look at it next year.
I'm sure there's pretty strong feelings.
Very
about
strong
this.
feelings about this one.
just because it.
Well, because they don't understand it yet.
Well,
I understood, I get it.
Yeah,
Right,
and
so that's
I-
it's not fair to put in the budget for that.
Understood.
But I understand the points that you're making about the program itself. It's kind of intriguing to think about how technology can be helpful. And
Paradoxical.
how can it be, but how does it fit in with the continuum of care is, I think, the main question. And $1 million is a lot of money.
Right.
Well,
Well, and AHS is gonna be very busy next year.
They are.
You just
Well, this
told
is
us
for
that.
Department of Health.
That's still part of AHS. So we'd like to take that out.
All
right.
We'll get
We'll
back to you
consider
next week.
All right. Um. We do the rural. Well, are we waiting for education for that? They're unlinked. Yeah, okay. So we were concerned about the rural industrial development program because we weren't sure what was going to happen with education and whether we would need the funding for that. But we're willing to accept that. To get rid of line 135. That we just talked about.
135.
No, what happened?
Yeah, definitely.
You accepted that.
No. We get rid of 135. We could do the rural industrial development program. We just want to ensure that the language, line 60, that the language that was in S 327 that Chair Marcotte had to ensure how the money goes with related to FEMA and federally affected projects. 60.
Oh, 6.
So we'll just confirm that language is in the budget, and if it's not, we'll have the language.
And
next time.
the same dollar amount? That we're
Yes.
agreeing, John.
Yes. So line 60 is miscellaneous one time. But we want to confirm that we get the language. If we don't have that, we'll put that language in from S 327 to ensure it's
Yeah, that's important.
it's used right. So we'll get that.
And 127 or 327 might still pass. I think that's over
We
the
should-
house with it.
Right.
Possibility of concurrent first
Right.
reading. So,
But we want to make sure it's in the
Yeah.
budget. We don't want to, we're so close now. We don't want to mess that up.
Right.
So those were all the actual line items. But I just want to get back to you, on UVM. I don't have language. I'll have something for the next time, but from a concept basis, we could propose, slightly different than what you had offered yesterday, which I can't even remember, but to give the money to UVM. The 12 million, 10 million from the unclaimed property and 2 million from the higher ed trust fund. And then, work out some kind of language that would include, perhaps a clawback if they don't meet their targets within a reasonable time frame. They had talked about offering to spin off the interest and bring it back to the higher ed trust fund. And then we might want to do quarterly or semi-annual check-ins to just see how they're doing on the project. So that's the concept.
Okay.
So it isn't wait until the end. It isn't 3 years. It would be giving them the money now. And we have this language that we so retain a little bit of understanding of what's happening.
Is it dollar amount targets or construction targets or what?
I don't have that language.
I'm just,
I don't know.
I would just say conceptually,
Yeah,
the dollar amount targets on are is problematic to me as having built projects in my life. If, for example, they went to the spot and they started digging and they found archaeological
Yeah.
things, you can get held up for ages. with
Right.
That sort of stuff. So I see a line difference between the money
Yeah.
and the raising of the money. And as
The
long as
actual
they're making
construction of the
a
project.
good faith effort on the construction
Right.
side,
Okay, well, that's helpful.
I just have to throw that out there. Having done projects.
Yeah.
In the middle of COVID, I got stopped in a project and it cost me $85,000 more. And we had a whole period of time where we couldn't have anybody work. And then
Right.
all those things happen on the construction side, raising of the money, have more.
So you would like to have some construction contingencies in there?
No.
You don't want construction.
No.
I was unclear what you were saying. It's not like you're going
If you
the other
have,
direction.
if you wanna,
I'm more thinking about the money. We don't want to be general managers
I just,
unless you want to do that.
No.
You have experience.
well,
If you want.
I don't, but
Okay.
I'm just saying on the construction side.
Yeah.
They have firm deadlines sometimes.
Right. Yeah, life happens.
Yes.
So no, I was thinking about the money part. I can't imagine us trying to figure out.
do you think that'll happen at the next meeting?
Yes. Yeah, but I just wanted to share the concept and assume that you're probably okay with that. So given that you're probably okay with it, we'll proceed with language.
Yeah, sounds like good progress.
So you have to get back to us on a bunch of things.
But
Yeah, we're gonna get into the language on the food package. You're gonna get back to us on the contingent transactions. And the, AHS language number 4.
Yeah.
You're gonna confirm row 140, the 938 language, page 938. We'll get the Marcotte language, and we'll get the language on the food package. And we'll confirm the ethics piece, make sure we have the right language there, and then we're working on language for UVM and the benefits of sisters, which is the other part of this program.
Right, yeah.
People were working late into the night on that, and I think Senator Lyons, you're gonna get contacted perhaps by Chair Wood, also,
Sounds good.
to get that worked out. That's, yes, it's not my wheelhouse. We've
I
had the
think I already
experts.
have.
You may have already been in touch, so there's, and Nolan and Grady and Katie, and the great people are working on the job, so. So have that as soon as we can.
And Grady, you want to see the language, the merging into 2 studies about the IRA trust fund.
Oh, yes.
And house district.
Right.
Just to make sure we see that.
Great, thank you.
I'm sure it'll be fine, but someone.
Yeah, we want to be sure it's what we thought it was. Gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when do you want to meet again? On the floor and
How long? We did 11:30.
possible
Shall we aim for that?
today for that, and then we can be flexible.
Yeah,
And
We-
I can
we-
get off the floor and text Al. It's gonna be.
okay.
Do we know? Well, we don't want to, are you guys on about there? They're finished our conversation.
She's finished her conference committee. The yield is the only other one that already done. So it's really yield, miscellaneous tax flows, miscellaneous tax, yield and education. All of which have some impact on us, but there's plenty we can
Yeah,
finish up without those pieces.
Well, we
So,
don't have any comment as far as person, people.
no, and we don't have to be on the floor unless there's a roll call. So we are flexible.
Right.
So, so maybe we try for 11:30.
Okay. We will endeavor.
We will endeavor. Well,